Yo, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm quite excited because we're building together probably the most advanced distribution board I've ever built, ever seen, to be honest. We're going to be building it from the ground up, the carcass of the board, all the breakers, AFDD, surge protection, metering, and also some smart technology that monitors the breakers, monitors the circuits for current usage, all that sort of stuff, but also for like faults and loads of cool stuff like that. So it's going to be a real nice install, but today we're just going to be building the board. I'm also going to be introducing my new apprentice. So we've actually got a digital marketing apprentice for loadout. Helps out with all the social media, the content creation and stuff like that. I've taken him under my wing, teaching him everything, the little that I know about cameras, but he's doing really well. But that also means he's a sort of pseudo cameraman for this channel when I need him. So today he's actually going to be on the buttons, he's actually going to be on the camera when he turns up. So I'll make sure I introduce him. You'll see a lot more of him in the future, but just because we've got loads of stuff coming up, which I'll probably talk about in this video at some point. But yeah, the board. So we've got all the gear over here, sat on this shelf. So this is actually a 160 amp isolator, completely overkill, but I wanted one with the sort of clunky crank handle. We've got all of the Mcbs and breakers and AFDDs and everything like that, metering, all that sort of cool stuff. And then we've got the big old board here, which is a dual AFDD bus bar as well as a traditional bus bar, Acti 9 ISO bar P, so it's got the wireless Rcbos. And then we've just got an expansion chamber here too to fit some of the smart tech. I'll take you over to where we're actually fitting it, and it's being fitted in the loadout HQ. So about 6 months ago, around December last year, I got all the power on here, rewired the whole place, done, you know, quite a good job, you know me. I take a lot of pride in what I do, but the one thing that was eating away at me was this distribution board. So here it is, completely undersized for a start, but also it's just in a bad way. It's been installed by, I don't think it was originally installed by an electrician, not a decent one anyway. The cable entry is terrible. The construction of the board has just been roughed in. It's got corrosion and stuff like that too, which means it isn't going to go the distance, but it's still a decent bit of kit. It's just been installed so badly, and now I've come in, done a proper job, segregated circuits and stuff like that. It's just not big enough. I've doubled up breakers and done what I had to do safely, but a bit rough, to get the power on and get this place tested, knowing full well I'm going to come back and tidy it all up. So yeah, it's going to be a lot bigger. We're going to have to sort out some of this stuff here. I'm also putting that sort of Glasgow switch in here too. That will be a separate video, as will be the installation. Today we're just going to focus on building the board, talking about some of the components, showing off some of this smart kit, obviously in a de-energized state, so you won't see it in all its glory. But yeah, it should be good, it should be interesting. Let's run the intro and wait for the apprentice to turn up. So I've just had a look. I don't think we've got the surge protection, so I'll have to speak to Schneider about that and get that sent out. It might be a separate thing anyway, or it might be integrated into the board, but I'll speak to them and find out. I think as well, the apprentice is here. So this is Jude. Say hello, mate. You're Davey. You're going to be seeing a lot more of this guy, but it'll tend to be behind the camera, to be fair. Now you're here, mate. Should we get this organised and ready to go? Sweet. So we've got most of our breakers and components organised now, ready to build the board. But speaking of getting organised, I just wanted to touch on today's video sponsor, Tradify. So Tradify is a job management software that will allow you to organise your business, send quotes, send invoices, send job sheets, report on the jobs throughout the day, and just keep a good track on everything going on day to day, whether it's customer based or staff based. It's a real great software, and yeah, check it out. It's going to get you super organised. You can actually get 50% off your first 3 months using code RESIDUAL. Click the link below, head over to the website, give the free trial a go, and if you like it, get 50% off your first 3 months, and it can really change your business. Let's get all these components unboxed, laid out, and let's start building this beast of a board. Right, so I've got my tools laid out, I've got all of my breakers, I've got the instructions, the list of breakers we're going to need as well, and yeah, all of the kit ready to start building this board. So I'll start with the main switch. This is generally the first point of isolation within the consumer unit, within the distribution board, whatever installation you're working on. There might be some isolation prior to that, generally there would be, but yeah, this is a isolator for the whole board. It doesn't provide any protection, anything like that. It's obviously rated accordingly, but apart from that, it doesn't actually do anything. It is basically a fancy switch. Now we've got a 4-pole one, so that means it's also going to switch to neutral 2. So that is great for, yeah, most modern installations. Technically, you're not fully isolated if you don't switch to neutral. So yeah, just something to consider when switching to neutral, that there might be something that needs that return path, a UPS system or something like that. So yeah, don't just blanket say that, you know, 4-pole or double pole's better, but it certainly at face value is the better option to go for. There we go. Just put that over here. What we got, spare blanks for the AFDDs there, cool. Got our earth bolt assembly, board cover screws, and then we've got this sort of neutral cover here. What's nice about these boards is they're pretty safe. So as you can see, this neutral bar is all encapsulated in plastic, so there's literally with the cover on, there's no way you could touch that neutral bar, and that's why these are some of the safest boards on the market, especially in installations where you can't isolate. A lot of commercial industrial situations in the real world, it's just yeah, not a possibility to isolate. So these boards, you can actually work in them safely because all of the live parts are covered. You've got the slider system as well, and then yeah, the neutral bars are all completely encased too. So a lot of boards fall flat where they're actually quite safe. You can only, you know, touch some live parts if you really want to, but then the neutral bar is completely exposed, which is considered a live part, and yeah, renders that sort of pointless. So now I can clip this on. There we go, get that ready to slide up, and I want to get these put back on. So these are just fuses basically, which are going to serve the metering. So we've got metering, we've got surge protection as well. We haven't got it with us today because, as I discovered before we started filming, I didn't check that. We ever got sent them, but yeah, I spoke to Schneider, they're going to send us one of those as well, so that'll be cool. Get these clipped back on. And then hopefully I can sort of, should be able to slide this on now. Sweet, so that's all locked in. I'm going to tighten this DIN rail back down again. There's no sort of torque ratings for it that I can see. However, we should probably double check. No, there is. They want to be 2.5 Newton meters. So let's do that now. The breakers, I tend to always know to do, just because, I mean, you're always talking breakers, but when it comes to stuff like that, it's very easy to forget to do that at the end. So I'm actually going to, yeah, tighten that to 2.5, get the adapter in, there we go, get that in, and then we'll tighten these up. Saying that, that is a posi, not a modular, so get that swapped over. Then crank that up. That's quite tight for a DIN rail, but I suppose it is holding the main switch, so quite important. And then while we're here, why not? Incoming needs to be 3.5 Newton meters. Let's just get that set to 3.5. Get this tightened up too. Sweet. So that is the main switch sorted. We're probably going to have like some 25mm tails coming out of our Glasgow switch into the bottom of this. We'll have a nice big expansion chamber on the bottom as well, which we'll get to in a little bit. This is the incoming sort of switch of the distribution board, ready to rock and roll. So now, and we'll get onto the AFDD. So this is pretty cool. First of all, let's talk about the devices themselves. So these are the Acti 9 active breakers. These are super smart. These include a whole host of features. So we've got AFDD protection, so that's going to detect a arc, a potentially dangerous arc anyway. It's going to cut that breaker off, so great for situations that would cause fires and stuff like that. And it's also got Rcbo protection built in, so yeah, RCD device, which is going to detect an imbalance between line and neutral, trip off. We've also got over current and short circuit protection too, overload and short circuit protection. So yeah, real smart device. And then it's obviously compatible with the Acti 9 active system as well, which is basically a smart monitoring system. We've got a server here, which we're going to fit in the expansion chamber, and it basically monitors all of the devices, all of the circuits, lets you know power usage, when the last time it tripped. If you imagine like a commercial installation or an industrial installation, say a hospital or something, and a breaker is teetering on the edge of overload, and if you could get notified and be on your way to site before that happens, that's insane. And like, it's just cool to see, you know, where the technology going, all crammed into this device. It is a double pole device. I know a lot of people are bringing out single module AFDDs. Obviously this goes so much further than that. There's a lot more involved with this device, so that's why it's double pole. It also exhausts out the back. I'm told by Schneider that some other manufacturers exhaust out the side into another breaker potentially, as these ones exhaust out the back. So yeah, that's super important. And again, that just shows that although they're not single pole, they don't look as slim or as cool as the other ones. They're actually a better device. Couple that with all the added features that are, you know, sort of incorporated in this, it makes for a really, really smart little device. So I'll just get one of these clipped in now. We've got this bus bar system as well. I better talk about that. So this is actually an 18-way carcass. There's, if this was just a traditional board, it'd be an 18-way three-phase. However, this is actually like a 22-way board. We've got 12 AFDD ways and 10 three-phase ways. Now the AFDD ways only take up 2 of the actual phases. They're sort of just blanked out on the back of the breakers, so you just pick up 1 phase and 1 neutral depending on what phase you want to select. The other sort of pole, which is being used up by the extra space, has just got that dead sort of plastic in there, which obviously isn't going to connect to anything. But yeah, you can pick any phase you want just by configuring it whatever way. So you just clip on like so. That's locked into place then. You can then go again and again. Push those clips in as well. They're sort of locked on, and then you can see there I've got 1 on grey, 1 on brown, 1 on black, so not in the same phase order, but yeah, they're spread across all of the phases there. And yeah, that's how they take up 2 ways but only utilize 1 phase, so pretty smart. And then we've got the new sort of screw torques sheet here as well, which says that AFDDs need to be 2 Newton meters. Again, traditionally I'd do all the torquing in one go at the end, but because this is a board building video, I thought we'd actually do it as we go. So let's set to 2 Newton meters. Let's tighten the neutral. There we go. Tighten the live. Loads of bite on these. Get all these tightened up, and yeah, that is the AFDD side of things. Pretty smart, to be honest. Like, when we're getting more and more closer to AFDDs being compulsory, there's all this talk of, well, you know, how are they going to do it? How's it going to look? How much is this stuff going to cost? Now, I'm not going to lie, this is an expensive bit of kit, all of this kit. It's probably the most expensive, one of the most expensive boards I've ever configured. But it's designed for a commercial industrial client who wants this level of, you know, analysis, protection, and everything like that, this level of quality. The other thing is myself working at Burgess Electrical, we work for loads of clients that just spec Schneider. They don't care about the cost. because all they care about is the safety. You know, you can work in them live as much as you shouldn't do, and you should try to negate that if you do have to, and in a lot of situations you do have to. They're just super safe boards, so the reason why people want to spend the money initially is because then they won't have to have shutdowns or anything like that. And that is because of the Rcbo system. So I'll just talk about that quickly as well. Let's get this off. They're a bit tight when they're brand new. There we go. If this board was connected up and energized, obviously it would be live, and a traditional board, the bus bar, would be live too. However, none of these pins are live on the Rcbo system until you pull them over. Now these are super hard to do because there's no breaker sort of lifting them up, but on these ones here, you'll see you can just clip them over, and that is what makes these pins live. So when you've got the cover off this thing, you're waving your hands about, you're stripping cables, none of these are live unless the slider is across. But you can't knock the sliders across. There has to be a breaker in there lifting them up so that you can then pull that over. So super safe boards. Again, it's great for installations where you need to liven up some of the installation, you know, for site temp, site lighting or whatever, but the job's not done. So you're gonna basically have an electrician working in a half complete board. He can obviously have the sliders on for the breakers he wants on, but all of the other breakers can be in, torqued, ready to go without the sliders across. So yeah, it's just a great system. That has been about long before, you know, this new AFDD system and the Acti 9 active system. But yeah, Rcbo is a massive reason why these boards get spec'd, and why I personally love them. I said I was going to get these Rcbos fitted, but first I'm going to get these fitted, easy, just because my OCD wouldn't allow it any other way. So I actually just want these to be the first ones utilising this way, just to keep it uniform. Then we'll have the two Rcbos and the breakers will be pretty random. So get them clipped in, and these are 40 amps. So MCBs rated from 32 to 63 amps need to be 3.5 Newton meters. One thing about this screwdriver is when you push this in, and then naturally you push this collar up as well, but with that up, that's the collar unlocked. So you have to push it down again to lock it. But naturally, that's like locked in there. I'm gonna push that in, and then I've just unlocked it. It's like one of my pet hates. I love this torque screwdriver. We sell loads of them on loadout. It's probably the most popular one because of the range. It has such a vast torque range, but one of the little things that annoys me is that, but it couldn't be the perfect tool because, well, yeah, what tool is? I'll get this tightened up, and we can see the board is starting to take shape. So I'm actually going to be fitting finger trunking as well. I don't know if we'll get round to it in this video. I just want to talk about the components really and get the sort of main part of the board built. But yeah, we're going to be fitting finger trunking, the expansion chamber and all sorts too. So this board should end up pretty sick. Now we've got these. So this is a Rcbo. Traditionally they have fly leads, so they'll have a functional earth lead and a neutral lead as well. However, these actually are wireless, they're considered wireless. And that's because built into this sort of bus bar system, this carcass, bus bar system, not buzz bar, and this carcass is yeah, neutral and functional earths as well. So this pin here, that jaw, a bit similar to the other range of Schneider breakers, the new square D ones where they sort of clip onto the phases the same sort of way. That's how it picks up its neutral too, and those are in this sort of backing plate, and that one is for the functional earth. You can see there, neutral and earth. What that means is you haven't got to have any of those leads getting dressed around the board, just making everything messy, making everything a little bit overwhelming. They just simply click in like so, push that in, job done. That is needs to be torqued up, but that's ready to go. Super neat. As you can imagine, some of these boards are loaded up with like 50 Rcbos, so that's 50 little fly leads running up the side. A lot of people tie wrap them in, mess around with them. Finger trunking does a great job of, again, tidying it all up. But yeah, that is so much quicker, so much neater, and I love them. Live out, neutral out. Okay, Rcbo live in wants to be 3.5 Newton meters as well. So we can just use this because it's already set, and that is those done too. Finally, we have are MCBs. These are probably the most basic of devices out of everything here. Obviously you've got the AFDDs with the Acti 9 active and the Rcbo protection. You've then got the Rcbos, which are obviously providing short circuit protection, overload protection, as well as RCD protection. And then you've got these, the mild mannered MCB, just does short circuit and overload protection, your traditional old school breaker. We've got a few of them, a 3 amp one as well, which is quite unique, a B3. That's actually going to pick up the meter in and I believe the server as well. Sorry, the meter in will be off these fuses, so this will be picking up the server. So I'm actually going to put that one there so it's nice, and I put it in the right way. So it's nice and close, it's not going to have to travel too far. I'm then just going to load these up in size order, just again for me OCD. Get them popped in. Then we got 16, 16 and 32. The last one, I'm going to have to decide what side I want to go for. I'm going to go this side because I think it's going to be less busy. Make sure those pins are clipped in, cool. And then we want to look at ratings. So B3 to 25 amp is 2 newton meters, and then 32 to 63 is 3.5. So we've got one 32 amp. This is already set to 3.5, so we'll get that tightened up. There we go. Let's drop this down to 2 newton meters. 3, 2.2, 1.8, 2, there we go. And then we can get them all tightened up, and that is the main part of the board. Well, all of the devices configured apart from all of our smart devices. So I'm probably going to save all that, like I say, for a separate video. We'll fit the finger trunk in. We're going to have to like jigsaw out the bottom of the board for cable entry. Well, the bottom of the expansion chamber actually. We'll fit the server, we'll fit the surge protection, because hopefully that will be here, and you'll start to see it all take shape. I've also got a great alternative to Paxlin. So I've heard a lot of stuff about Paxlin. Apparently it's a carcinogenic, apparently it's, you know, a really horrible material. And yeah, a guy on Instagram, Eddie Ware, EGW, put me onto grey board, or I think it's called Darvik board. It's used in the water industry a lot and it looks quite cool. So I've got a sheet of it here. It was quite expensive, but yeah, we're going to use that as our spacer. But this is essentially the board complete, device wise. Like I say, I've got to do all the finger trunking and everything else to make it fancy, but functionally everything we need is there apart from the smart kit. If you've got any questions about any of the devices, put them in the comments below. I'll try and help explain them, whether it's something to do with the Schneider side of things or if it's just about the devices in general. I'll try to explain them as best as possible for like layman's or people entering the industry. Sorry if it's not 100% factually correct, but hopefully it does help someone. And yeah, we'll wrap this one up here. If you want to grab any of these tools, make sure you check out Loadout. I've got all of them available. I'll put the link to that below. You'll be supporting this channel as well. And I'll catch you on the next one when we finish this board off.